Welcome to our channel. Today, we delve into the dark corners of the night, exploring the chilling terror of home invasions. We have 3 spine-chilling burglar horror stories that will make you double-check your locks tonight. So, turn off the lights, lock your doors, and prepare to be disturbed. Tonight, we face those secrets head-on. The Thompson family, a picture of suburban tranquility, had their world shattered one seemingly ordinary Wednesday night. What started as a typical evening would soon turn into a nightmare they could never have imagined. It was late. Rain lashed against the windows, and the family slept soundly upstairs, unaware of the impending danger. Unbeknownst to them, a sinister figure lurked in the shadows of their backyard. He was no ordinary burglar. This one moved with a chilling silence. A predator stalking his prey, with a calculated and malevolent intent. The back door, seemingly secure, offered little resistance as he expertly picked the lock, slipping inside with ease. Every creak of the floorboard, every tick of the clock, seemed to amplify the growing tension. The house itself seemed to hold its breath. The family dog, usually a boisterous protector, lay silent, drugged into a deep sleep, the intruder's work. The house was defenseless. He crept up the stairs, his shadow stretching like a phantom across the hallway, a silent harbinger of doom. In the master bedroom, John Thompson stirred, a father's intuition pulling him from slumber, a sense of unease gripping him. He saw the silhouette in the doorway, a dark figure backlit by the faint glow of the hallway light. Before he could react, a gloved hand clamped over his mouth, stifling his scream. The intruder leaned in, his voice a menacing whisper. "Don't move. Don't speak, and no one gets hurt." John's heart pounded in his chest, his eyes darting to his wife, Sarah, who now stirred beside him, her peaceful sleep about to be shattered. The intruder, sensing her awakening, pressed a cold, hard object against John's temple, a chilling reminder of the danger. "Wake her up," he hissed. "Tell her we're just here for valuables." John, his voice trembling, whispered to Sarah, his words doing little to mask the terror that gripped his soul, his heart racing. The intruder began to ransack the room, his movements swift and calculated, leaving no corner unchecked. Down the hall, a child's whimper pierced the silence. Little Emily, their 8-year-old daughter, had awoken from a nightmare, only to find a real-life horror unfolding before her eyes. The intruder froze, his head snapping towards the sound, his eyes narrowing. "Stay here," he growled at the terrified couple, his voice laced with a chilling threat, his presence dominating the room. He disappeared down the hallway, his shadow swallowing the light, leaving an eerie silence in his wake. Then, as quickly as he had entered their lives, the intruder was gone, leaving behind a trail of stolen possessions and shattered peace. The Thompson family would never be the same again, their sense of security forever broken. In the heart of the city, where the lights never dim and the streets are always alive, nestled in a high-rise apartment building, surrounded by the constant hum of urban life, lived Anna, a young woman building her life one dream at a time. She was independent, strong-willed, and determined to carve out her own path. But even the bravest hearts can be shaken by the cold hand of fear, a fear that lurks in the shadows. One evening, as the city outside buzzed with life, the sounds of laughter and traffic filling the air, Anna found herself alone in her apartment, the silence inside contrasting sharply with the noise outside. A creeping sense of unease settled upon her. The phone rang, a wrong number, or so she thought, but the voice on the other end sent a shiver down her spine. It was a male voice, laced with a chilling familiarity, but she couldn't quite place it. It was as if a ghost from her past had come back to haunt her. She tried to dismiss it as her imagination playing tricks on her, shaking off the fear that clung to her like a second skin. She tried to focus on her work, burying herself in the familiar routine, but the unsettling feeling persisted, gnawing at the edges of her mind. A noise from the hallway, a sound that didn't belong. The distinct click of her front door unlocking sent a jolt of fear through her. Her heart pounded in her chest as she slowly crept towards the door, every step heavy with dread. Her hand trembling as she reached for the baseball bat she kept for protection. Peering through the peephole, her blood ran cold. Standing in the hallway was a man, his face obscured by a hooded sweatshirt, his hand gripping a crowbar. He was the face she couldn't place on the phone, the voice that had sent chills down her spine. He began to force the door, the sound of splintering wood echoing through the apartment. Anna knew she had seconds to act. Adrenaline surged through her veins, fear replaced by a fierce determination to survive. She grabbed her phone, dialing 911, whispering her address into the receiver. The intruder crashed through the door, his eyes scanning the apartment, a predator searching for his prey. Anna, her voice trembling but resolute, shouted, "I've called the police! They're on their way!" The intruder hesitated, surprised by her defiance. In that moment of hesitation, Anna saw her chance. She charged, swinging the baseball bat with all her might, connecting with a sickening thud against his arm. He cried out in pain, dropping the crowbar as he stumbled backward. Anna didn't hesitate. She pressed her advantage, her fear giving way to a primal instinct to protect herself. She swung again, this time aiming for his legs, sending him crashing to the floor. As he lay there, groaning in pain, Anna stood over him, her voice trembling but firm. "Don't move! The police are on their way!" The police arrived, their arrival bringing a wave of relief that washed over Anna. Anna had faced her fear and emerged victorious, but the memory of that night would forever be etched in her mind. She knew that she had found a strength within herself that she never knew existed. And though the night had been terrifying, it had also been a testament to her resilience and courage. She had not only survived, but had taken control of her own fate. The city outside continued to buzz with life, unaware of the battle that had taken place within Anna's apartment. But for Anna, the night had changed everything. She was no longer just a young woman building her life. She was a survivor, a warrior who had faced her darkest fears and won. And as she looked out at the city lights, she knew that she could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The night had tested her, but it had also revealed her true strength. And with that strength, she would continue to build her life, one dream at a time. Her journey was far from over, but she was ready for whatever came next. The police arrived, their presence a reminder that she was not alone. Anna had faced her fear and emerged victorious, but the memory of that night would forever be etched in her mind. And though the scars might fade, the lessons she learned would stay with her forever. The old Victorian house stood on a hill overlooking the town, its shadow stretching long and ominous in the moonlight. It was a relic of a bygone era, with its creaking timbers and ivy-covered walls, a place that seemed to hold secrets of its own. It was the perfect setting for a sleepover. At least that's what 17-year-old Jessica and her two friends, Chloe and Michael, thought. They had planned this night for weeks, excited about the prospect of spending the night in such an atmospheric location. They were oblivious to the terror that awaited them within the creaking walls of the old house. The house, with its darkened hallways and empty rooms, seemed to breathe with a life of its own. The night started innocently enough, filled with laughter, scary stories whispered in the dark, and the carefree spirit of youth. They huddled together, the glow of their flashlights casting eerie shadows on the walls as they tried to outdo each other with tales of ghosts and ghouls. But as the night wore on, a sense of unease settled upon them. The laughter began to fade, replaced by nervous glances and the occasional shiver. The wind howled outside, rattling the old windows, and strange noises echoed from the empty rooms above. The house seemed to come alive with every gust of wind, its old bones creaking and groaning. They tried to ignore it, to convince themselves it was just the old house settling, but deep down, a primal fear began to take root. Each creak and groan seemed to whisper warnings of unseen dangers. Then, the power went out, plunging the house into darkness. The sudden loss of light was like a physical blow, leaving them disoriented and scared. Jessica fumbled for her phone, the flashlight beam cutting through the darkness, revealing their fear-stricken faces. The small circle of light was their only comfort in the oppressive darkness. Suddenly, a crash from downstairs shattered the silence. Their blood ran cold. It was a sound that didn't belong, a sound that spoke of intrusion and danger. Someone was in the house. The realization hit them like a tidal wave, bringing with it a surge of panic. They huddled together, their whispers barely audible over the pounding of their hearts. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind seemed amplified in the silence. Michael, trying to sound brave, suggested they check it out, but Chloe and Jessica were paralyzed by fear. The thought of confronting whatever was downstairs was too terrifying to contemplate. Another crash, this one louder, closer. It was as if the intruder was deliberately trying to scare them, to drive them out of their hiding place. They were trapped, their safe haven turned into a prison of fear. The walls that had once seemed so protective now felt like they were closing in on them. They crept down the stairs, each step filled with dread, their flashlight beam dancing across the walls, creating eerie shadows that seemed to writhe and contort. Every step was a battle against the urge to turn and run. In the living room, they found the source of the noise. The room, which had been so familiar and safe, now felt alien and threatening. The back door, previously locked, now swung open, the lock broken. It was clear that someone had forced their way in. A cold draft blew in, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and something else, something sinister. They were not alone. The air seemed to thrum with a malevolent energy. A figure emerged from the shadows, silhouetted against the moonlight streaming in from the broken door. The sight of the intruder sent a fresh wave of terror through them. He was tall and menacing, his face hidden in the darkness. The way he moved, with a slow, deliberate menace, made their skin crawl. They froze, their breath catching in their throats. The fear was paralyzing, making it hard to think, hard to move. The intruder stepped into the light, his eyes glinting with malicious intent. There was a cold, calculating look in his eyes that spoke of danger. He held a crowbar in his hand, its metal glinting under the moonlight. The sight of the weapon made their hearts race even faster. Jessica, her voice trembling but defiant, shouted, "Get out! We called the police!" It was a bluff, a desperate attempt to scare him off. But the intruder just laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the house. His laugh was devoid of any warmth, a sound that promised pain. He lunged at them, swinging the crowbar with a sickening thud. The sound of the metal hitting the floor was like a death knell. They screamed, scattering in different directions, their fear giving them an unexpected burst of adrenaline. The chase was on, a frantic scramble for survival. Michael raced towards the front door, hoping to unlock it before the intruder caught him. His hands shook as he fumbled with the lock. Chloe scrambled under a table, her breath catching in her throat as she prayed he wouldn't see her. The darkness was her only ally, her only hope of staying hidden. Thank you for joining us tonight as we journeyed into the heart of fear. We've explored the chilling reality of home invasions and the strength it takes to overcome such terrifying experiences. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more terrifying tales. Stay safe and sleep tight. You never know what lurks in the shadows.